Can you hear me? All right, good. Thank you. I want to start by talking about soft fruit farming. All right, blueberries, strawberries, cherries, raspberries, blackberries, and wine grapes. Altogether, these crops amount to a $10 billion farming industry in the United States alone. But this big business has a huge problem with a tiny pest called spotted winged drosophila. Spotted winged drosophila is an invasive fruit fly that lays its eggs in the berries during the critical ripening season and ruins the crops. What farmers are forced to do today is spray pesticides every few days to control this pest. All right, but that's expensive. It costs a typical Oregon blueberry farmer $500 to $900 per acre per year just in chemicals to deal with its single pest, and the labor costs extra. It's also disruptive to the farm's ecology, damaging to the wider environment, and presents toxicity to humans, including the workers in the field and the consumers downstream, which includes your family and mine. So there has to be a better way, right? That's where we come in. TerrAmor is a team of Oregon State University horticulture researchers and business faculty who are presenting a new solution called EDCO. EDCO is a proprietary, patent-pending blend of organic food-grade ingredients whose key feature is its smell. Consider for a moment how a shark can be driven into a frenzy by the smell of blood in the water. Flies have similar pathways, receptor pathways, and decoy activates those pathways. When the smell of decoy is in the air, flies are powerfully attracted to it away from the crops. Their normal life cycle is disrupted, and the crops are effectively protected. The way we deploy this stuff into the field, we take our special sauce, we deposit it on organic hemp pads, and we place those pads underneath drip irrigation lines out in the field, and that's it. We've demonstrated this product in field trials in the past year in blueberry fields and cherry orchards, and we've shown that it works great. We get a 20-foot radius of protection around each pad, and the duration of that protection is at least 3 weeks. What that means is 50 of these pads can protect 1 acre, potentially for an entire growing season, depending on the varietal. We're going to market. We're going to sell it for $249 per 50 pack. That's a 1 acre treatment. It costs us less than $75, even at small batch scale, to produce those. And we're selling it to blueberry farmers across the Americas, which amounts to 230,000 acres of potential market. Last but not least, we're about to receive our organic certification, which is tremendously important because organic is a growing segment, and those farmers need this product the most. In summary, all right, we have a strong value proposition with a clear and immediate ROI for our business customers. We have a large market opportunity, and we're ready to bring this to market. And best of all, this is a true people, planet, and profit business. All right, well, thank you. Again, our name is TerrAmor. To remember that, just think Earth Love. Thanks.
Thank you, Sanjay. I apologize, I suppose, to the insect lobby because we ended up with 2 pesticides on the stage today.
We also deal with gross worms, yes.
Where did this technology come from?
Oregon State University. Go Beavs. All right. So it was developed by a horticulture lab at Oregon State University. It's a true land-grant university, right? The mission of it is to support, the state and especially farmers in the state. So farmers, this pest emerged in 2008, and it created this, crisis in these industries, which are very important to Oregon. So the farmers came to this department and said, "Help us find solutions." And the team that developed this is, they're like pest control consultants. So they developed some solutions in-house, and this is our lead one that we're bringing to market.
We have so many blueberry fans in Bend that TerrAmor was the top vote getter at the BVC early stage pub talk a few weeks ago. So blueberry fans out in the audience, what questions do you have for Sanjay?
I know my kids love them. I can hear you.
Okay, so I'm from Florida originally, and one of the biggest problems that the orange industry in Florida has is something called citrus greening, which actually has a very similar chain of how the disease gets to the trees, where it's a pest that comes in, bites the tree, it transmits a virus, and eventually the tree just stops producing fruit. Do you have any plans to go into other types of fruit, other types of pests, or anything to that extent?
Yes. So I'm not familiar with that one. I'm not the entomologist. I'm just the business
Fair
guy.
enough.
But one of the benefits of this product right now is its specificity. So this this is a particular fruit fly, Drosophila Suzuki. It's very specific to that right now. In our product roadmap, we want to expand that to also capture Drosophila melanogaster, another pest fly. We've talked about anopheline mosquitoes, which are important vectors for human pathogens. So I'm not familiar with that particular one, but I do know. What's that? Oh yeah, Florida. Yeah, I've been to, right. Nobody likes mosquitoes. So I know that is within the capability of our technology platform to be tuned to different insect vectors.
So what does your leadership team look like in the organization for TerrAmor as a company?
Yeah, there's 5 of us in total. There's the lead researcher, the PI, his name's Vaughn Walton at Oregon State University. There's 2 postdocs who are really instrumental in developing this as a product. And we have another strategic operations management person. One of the strengths, I think, of our team is our strong connections to industry. We don't do anything without considering what the farmers want, and we're in close consultation with them at every step. When I joined the company, that was part of my filter, right? They're not just scientists holed up in a lab. They're people who work with and for the customers, really.
Is the product safe for workers to put into the ground?
Yes, absolutely. You can. I have eaten this stuff. It tastes okay. I mean, it's food grade ingredients. It's edible, except for the hemp pad. You probably don't want to chew on that, but it is organic and biodegradable.
People in Bend want to chew on the hemp pad.
Okay. So something I was curious about is flies are very adaptable and known for kind of getting around sorts of traps. And with the short life cycles, how fast are you able to adapt to if somehow they find something else more interesting than your current mix?
That's part of the recipe is tuned to be it triggers some of the most primal and sensitive olfactory receptors in the flies. I think with any kind of pesticide, there are concerns about the emergence of resistance or avoidance. The flies can evolve. They have short life cycles. We haven't been out there in the world long enough to know for certain that they will not happen, but just based on the principles of what kind of the mechanism of action, we don't expect that to happen.
What farms or companies are you working with so far? For example, have you linked up with Driscoll? Or what can you tell us about where you're at in that process?
Yeah, Driscoll's is one we have worked with in the past. My team would have the list. They're unfortunately not able to be here today. But we have close connections with the major growers in Oregon and throughout the Pacific Northwest.
So my question is based on the fact that this is a university-created product. So how is the patent? Who holds the patent, and how does that impact your bottom line in terms of revenue share?
Yeah. It is a university-created patent, and so they own the intellectual property that's developed within the university, and we are licensing it from them. We are currently in the exchanging of many email stage of that process, and all I'll say is it's great, and it'll end up great.
Could you use Albi to categorize that?
What's that? Sorry.
It was a joke about Albi.
Oh, okay.
You missed it.
Yeah.
They got it, though. That's all.
Okay, thank you, Sanjay.
All right.